Hello.
Hey, Robbo.
Welcome to E's and D's. Can we change the graphic to E's and D's?
E's and D's?
Yeah.
Sure.
It sounds funnier to me. Hey, so last week I said that the fighting Scallions were from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. They're not. They're from Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Yes.
A far less cool cultural reference, is that fair to say? But I thought it would be fun to make a fighting Scallions dish. Spring onion pancakes. And I'm going to make a charred spring onion dipping sauce to dip them in. Spring onion pancakes are like a Chinese thing. They are really yummy, really easy to make. You want to dip them in things. It's a really easy, like, unleavened dough. So it's just water, oil, and flour. It's not a dough that needs to rise and fall. Basically, it's kind of flaky and crispy, and you kind of want the. I don't know the science of dough completely, but the gluten will do something. It will come together over the kind of, while it's resting and everything, but we don't need it to rise. There's no yeast, so it's an unleavened bread. So we're going to do, this is a double batch, so I'll put the weight for a single batch into the thing below. 300 grams of flour, that's for a single. With flour, people quite often give recipes in cups. Weigh everything, because like if you pack a cup down or your flour's finer or whatever, it's going to be a different weight, a different amount in a cup. Now, as a pro tip to this, if you use hot water versus cold water, you're going to get different textures. I can't remember which one does which. I think hot makes it kind of slightly flakier, and cold makes it a little bit chewier. It could be vice versa, I can't remember. And the spring onion pancakes are a thin, sort of crispy, crunchy thing, but it's kind of fun to have a little bit of a chewy centre. So I'm going to do half and half hot and cold water. So we're going to do half water. Again, I'll put the measurements down on the bottom of the screen. What's half of 320? 160. It's not completely boiling, but it's pretty hot. And then we're going to do the same amount of cold water. I think the hot water breaks down the flour somehow, and it does something to gluten. Remember, you've just poured boiling water in here, so be careful if you are using the water hot. With dough as well, use your judgment on texture. We want this kind of to be a nice, soft, elasticy dough. So if you start kneading and it looks dry, like at the moment it's quite dry, there's still plenty of flour that it's not picking up. So if it doesn't really come together and it's still dry and crumbly, just add a little bit more water. Quite often, if I'm making bread or a dough, you end up adding more water and more flour until it gets to the texture you want. I'm probably going to add a little bit more water in. You can see it's kind of not quite picking up all that flour. And if you add too much water, just add more flour. It's as simple as that, really. It's looking quite nice. It's going to come together. What I'm going to do is just give my bench a quick wipe. It's kind of important to do the kneading. You want it to get kind of nice and bring all that gluten together and elasticy. Again, I don't know all the science behind it, but as you knead, it should start coming together and looking more like a good dough. I reckon I've got too much water in there. I think the kneading time for this is like 6 minutes. I never really time anything. I just kind of go by my feel. You'll feel this change. You saw it at the start and it was dry and crumbly, and now it's starting to get kind of elasticy. Can you see that? And so the more we knead it, the more rubbery and elastic it'll get. The basic ingredients, they've done their thing. We've brought them together, and then we're just going to fry them, and we want something crispy and crunchy. So it's so easy to do, and you don't actually need to stress out that much about it. Getting more elasticy. It's a dough rather than some crumbly flour. It's quite stiff, but we're going to let it sort of sit down, relax, do its thing. So I'm going to take half of this off and then pop it in the freezer for another night. A lot of recipes say to put this into a clean bowl and let it rest for an hour with some oil. I don't know why. We don't need to waste a bowl. This bowl's fine. So we're just going to drizzle roughly 60 mils of olive oil. Basically, you're doing that to keep the air out, so it doesn't all dry up while you're letting it rest. And we're going to pop that away for an hour, and we'll be back soon. So the spring onion pancakes, we are going to use the kind of the green part of the spring onion. If you use the thick white part, it can kind of pierce the skin and break open the pancake. So we're just going to use the green part, but of course we're not going to waste the white part. So put that aside for now. Spring onions, you want to peel off the kind of outer layer. It just kind of gets a little bit gross and greasy. I don't actually know what I'm going to do for the sauce here. I've kind of undecided what this fighting scallion sauce is going to be. I've never made a charred spring onion sauce before. I think I'm going to go charred spring onion, black vinegar. When you char spring onions, they get that delicious, like, kind of sweetens them. I feel like most people just use spring onions as a raw addition, and I've only really started using them charred, and they've come across really well. We'll cut up the green now. You kind of want from there to there. Like this stuff here has just got no flavour and it's a bit like flaccid. So you still kind of want it to have some sturdiness. Nice and green. I'm not too anal with washing veggies, but I guess for health and safety, I should say that I am. If you get sick, don't sue me. This is a legal disclaimer. Spring onions. Now I'm not trying to cook these. I just kind of want to get them all kind of black and crusty on the outside, just to give that kind of charred flavour into the sauce. I think black vinegar is kind of a traditional dipping sauce for spring onion pancakes. From my knowledge, and I don't know heaps about Chinese food or their origins, because Chinese is a massive country. I think it's kind of North Chinese is black vinegar and spring onion pancakes, but don't quote me on that. Maybe we'll do some raw garlic, pound that up as well. I think it's probably enough. We don't really want to overshadow the flavour of the spring onions. So my plan is, when these are cooked, I'm going to pound those spring onions up with the garlic. I don't know, almost like emulsify them, and then slowly add in the garlic to kind of, I don't want the sauce, this one to be too runny. I wouldn't mind a little bit of structure to this, so hopefully we can emulsify everything. I think charring things is different to burning things. You just kind of want to give them that nice kind of, look at that caramelization. I'm pretty sure it's a Maillard reaction, which is all the kind of sugars on the vegetable kind of caramelizing. Oh, they look good, don't they? Charring spring onions to put them on top of things is really cool. If you've got like roast mushrooms and like charred spring onions, that's pretty much a meal. You know, add some like a couple of little pesto or something in that. There's also like, this is one of those smells that it just reminds you of like going into a neighborhood Chinese restaurant. You can just create that neighborhood feel at home. We're okay, don't panic anyone. Just pounding too hard. My muscles are too strong for the bench to handle it. I think what I'm going to do is get some white pepper in here. I bloody love white pepper. White pepper's like used a lot in Thai and Vietnamese food. Like it gives a really prickly heat that I don't think you really get from black pepper. Really fun to adding heat, like if you're making curry paste, like Thai curry paste or a Thai curry, white pepper is probably an ingredient that most people might not realise is in there a lot. A little bit of black vinegar. Taste everything as you go. You should know this by now. It's really fun. I think it's missing something. I'm just going to get some sugar going on. I'm just going to use raw sugar for this. These sorts of sauces, it's just all about tasting, adding, tasting. Don't get too complicated with adding things. Like, I wouldn't add anything more than this in terms of ingredients. Oh, yum. So it does have quite a bit of spice in it from the white pepper and the raw garlic. You can add raw garlic to things to give it spice. People might not think that. It's really yummy. All right, what's that? Fighting scallion sauce. With much thanks to Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I watched The Nanny recently. Yeah. Holds up pretty well. Keep that in. Keep me in saying that The Nanny is surprisingly good.
Oh, really?
We're not going to make all these pancakes because you don't want to watch me make 10 pancakes. Just going to roll one of these out. Oh yeah, I forgot to say how stretchy is this now that it's all come together. Oh yeah. So we're going to make 5 from this batch at roughly 90 grams each. So we're going to roll this out twice. Once without the scallions and another time with the scallions. Roll it out a little bit. No, janky is fine. Then roll it up, and this is kind of where we start creating layers. Make a little sausage. And then make that sausage nice and long. You gotta get a long sausage going on. It's a little bit of innuendo there for you, Salty. And then we're gonna roll this baby up again into a little snail shell. Use plenty of flour to stop everything sticking. So make sure to turn your pan on with plenty of oil, which I have in the background, nice and hot. You want to, these aren't going to be thick. You don't really need to cook them through. You just want to fry them quickly so they're nice and crispy. You don't really want to overload it as well because they might kind of all spew out one side. Spread it out nice and evenly. I'm going to roll it up again. Be a little bit more gentle at this point, otherwise the spring onions are just going to burst out. If they burst out, it's fine.
You don't want stuff bursting out of your sausage.
You don't want stuff bursting out of your sausage. That is the last thing you need. Oh, we're bursting. Roll it up one more time. You could probably do this like 8 times and maybe it would be better. I don't know, I wouldn't. The little like split bits, they're just going to go crunchy when you cook them. And you're going to get a nice mix of crunchy and chewy. This isn't going to be the prettiest spring onion pancake I've made. What am I, Nigella Lawson? Heston Blumenthal? Jamie Oliver? I only know British chefs. You kind of want to get it as thin as possible, especially now that it's all spewed out. Plenty of oil, because it's kind of going to soak up the oil. Sorry, as soon as you walked away, I flipped it. Whoa, look at that one. Get some of our patented fighting scallion sauce on top. You could probably make a pizza out of this if you wanted. Just bloody add some, I don't know, maybe add some shiitake mushrooms on top of here. Some like chili jam or something. Oh, that'd be a party. Oh shit, yeah. Make this. I think I say that every time. Look at the whales here. It's drinks. I don't know where you're going to put the socials. Where are you going to put the socials, Salty?
I'll figure it out later.
Do that one.